Dr. Vernita White is an empowerment strategist and founder of the Vibe Institute, where she helps high-achieving women vibrate higher in their influence, brilliance, and excellence in life and career. Welcome to the platform, Dr. Vernita White, better known as Dr. V.
Hi everyone. Hi, setting this all up has been great so far. It's been great. How are you? So I will be looking around in a lot of different places. So one, I can see your comments too. So I can make sure I'm following along with the workbook that I'm giving you and all of that. So before we start, hi, I'm Dr. V. Thank you so much for waking up on a Saturday, giving us your time because you could be doing anything else, but you are serious about your transformation and getting your mind together as we go into wrap up 2020 and go into 2021. So I don't know if you all can see my thread. Hi, Kim. I don't know if you all can see like the thread for me, but I put a workbook in Facebook. So someone in the chat, let me know if you can see that, or I'll have to like copy and paste it and put it in the main group because I want you to follow along with me. So this, yes, we learn, but if I have to work on a Saturday, I want you to work. So I have a worksheet for you. So I'll wait till somebody put something in the comments and then we can get started. Or I can just put it in the comments now. So you all can get this link. It's a Dropbox link. Okay, I'm just gonna go put it in the comments. So while we're doing this, that was a great song that was playing, very positive. I love that it came right before my talk. So it set me in like a good mood. Okay. So I put a link in there. Hopefully you can open it. Okay, Lori, I hope I put it in there. Oh, you still can't see it? Dropout link. I just put it in there. Okay, I'll slow down. I'll just talk a little bit about me before we start. And then when someone says that they have it, let me know. So I am Vernita White. I go by Dr. V, and I am an empowerment strategist and personal coach. And what does that mean? I like strategists, the term strategist. And what that is, I help people with a system, structure, and strategy to help them get to their next level. And I empower them to do the transformational work that they need to do to blend life and career. Especially women, high achieving women, but we also work with a few good men. So I don't want to leave you out. If you're thinking about, hey, I want to know more about that too, I'm not leaving you out. All right, people got it. Yes. Okay, so let's get started. Again, if you see me looking all over the place, I am also looking at the worksheet because I want you to follow along with me. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Lori. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So I can't see you, so I'll be looking down at the chat. So I want you to respond. And we're going to do an icebreaker. We've been warmed up. You already got part of your mind right. So now we're going to move into the next step about mindsets that promote growth. So I want you to think of a number between 1 and 9. In your mind, we're going to do some mental math. My background is mathematics. So just like everyone should know how to read, I think everyone should know how to do math. So do that right now. You're welcome. So do that right now. Think of a number between 1 and 9. Don't write it in the chat. Just think about it. And then you're going to multiply that number by 9. Yes, multiply that number by 9. Some people do the 9 tricks. I don't do that because I say you should know your facts. You're at home. No one's going to see you. You can use the calculator if you want to. I won't tell. So do that. Think of a number between 1 and 9. Multiply that number by 9. And then if your number is a 2-digit number, then add those digits together. And if you have the worksheet, the directions are on there if I'm going a little too fast. All right, so if it's a 2-digit number, like if it's 45, you do 4 plus 5, and that's 9. And then you take that number and you subtract it by 5. Now, think of the last number and match it to the letter of the alphabet. So if you got that number and it was 1, then think of the letter A, and you're going to think of a country that starts with that letter. And then take the last letter of that country and think of an animal that begins with that letter. Now, one more step. Take the last letter of that animal and think of a color that starts with that letter. So take a few, like 1 minute. Go back and read through that. If you need me to repeat it, put it in the chat. And then put your answer, like what country, animal, and color did you get? Put that in the chat so I can see if we're all on the same page. I'm looking down because I'm watching. So I told you this is Saturday. We are working, so you are going to work too. And if that went too fast, again, you can go get the link for the workbook, and it says icebreaker, and the steps are on that page. Can you all still hear me? Thumbs up, put it in the chat. Are you still doing math? Uh-oh. Oh, okay, yay, people are doing it. Okay, so I see someone has Denmark kangaroo in orange. Did anyone else get something different? Delaware dog, dark green, that is a new one. So remember, we are thinking of a country. I remember in one workshop, someone put Africa as a country. Africa is a whole continent, not a country. Africa is a whole continent, people. I had to tell people that, and they were like, for real? And I was like, okay, so not only do we need to know math, we also need to go back and know social studies and geography. Yeah, that wasn't my strong suit either. All right, someone has Dominican Republic, cat, and tan. All right, so you can keep those comments going. I'm going to keep moving. The most common answer is the Denmark orange and kangaroo. And the reason why, like when I do these in big workshops, majority of the people get that. And it's like, why? Why do people get that? Because sometimes we all think the same way. Our minds are going in one direction, and sometimes we just need to interrupt the pattern. Oh, there's a big lag. Okay, I'll try to slow down. Okay, so the reason why I had us to do that is because I want us to think about one of our first speaker was really talking about the topic that we're gonna talk about a little bit today, but it's really priming your mind about things that you need to shift in your mindset before you do anything else. So I'm gonna ask you a question, and I will pause again because I want you to put the answer in the chat. Oh, somebody said Dominica, antelope, and emerald. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one. All right, so challenge question. We all heard this before. Name it and claim it, right? I know we've heard name it and claim it, but if it was so simple as just name it and claim it, then why aren't we all living our best lives? So I want to hear your answer. If we've heard name it and claim it, and if it was only those two simple steps, if I named a dream, I claim it, it's mine, I receive it, then why hasn't it showed up yet? Tell me your thoughts down below. Some people are still on the iceberg. I see New Zealand dog in green. Okay, some people say you have to take action. You don't believe it. It takes more than that. Absolutely. So thanks, Kim, Ebony, and Trisha. Yes, it takes all of that. All of those answers are great. So this is another math thing, and I promise this is the last math we're going to do this morning. So in mathematics, there's something called a decadent cut. And what that means is you have number one and you have number two. And for the outside world, that's all the numbers. Okay, 1, 2, 3. But in between 1 and 2, there are a lot of little numbers in between. So I won't go too deep, but there's like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, so on and so forth. And you can even cut those steps into smaller steps. So the theory behind the decadent cut is, yes, you have 2 points, but then we have to include all of those subpoints in between. So how does this relate to name it and claim it? You name it and you claim it, but there are a whole bunch of steps in between name it and claim it that we tend to overlook. Part of that, some of you all said, you have to take action. We don't believe it. We think that it should be that simple, but it's not. The first thing you have to do, yes, you have to name it. You have to identify, you have to know what it is, but you have to take action, and you have to take consistent action, and you also have to change your mind, which is your attitude. Yes, we have to get strategic about our goals, and we set our eyes on the prize and doubt and a lot of what ifs. Absolutely, it's a lot of what ifs. And I was that person. And hopefully I can share my story with you, and I'll give some of you time to catch up. If you haven't gone to the workbook, the link is somewhere in the chat thread. And now we're going to jump down to, okay, so I'm going to share with you a little bit of my story. And then, like I said, we're going to get to work. We have a little limited time together, and I want to make sure that you leave with some actual tools to help you get started. So my background, right, as of right now, a college professor. I teach mathematics courses and education courses where I help people learn how to teach mathematics. And I started that journey not really wanting to be a professor. I tell people that all the time. I didn't really want to be a professor, but I ended up becoming one. And for about 3 semesters, I just did the job like, okay, I'm here. I don't want to really be here. And I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. However, part of my core values is always showing up and being excellent. And I wasn't treating that job as being excellent. I wasn't being true to myself. Even though I didn't want to be there, that didn't mean I wasn't supposed to do a good job. So I got myself together, jumped into 5th gear, and actually performing as a professor at the highest level I could possible. Like, I started writing more articles, I started doing more research, I started, teaching my classes at a different level. I started speaking at more national conferences, because I was like, even though I didn't want to be a professor, I still needed to show up as Vernita, represent my full self. And then after doing that for a while, I still wasn't happy. I still wasn't fulfilled. And I was like, okay, so I saw this, not really an advertisement, I guess like a Facebook ad about being a motivational speaker. And I was like, well, maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to transition to be a motivational speaker, because after all, being a professor, a large part of our job is talking. We get paid to really talk all day, essentially. So I saw a course to kind of help me with my speaking, and I joined that course, and I was like, okay, I'm fired up, I'm ready to go. Halfway through, I quit. I was like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. Let me just go back and focus on being a professor. A few months went by, still wasn't happy in the job. So then I was like, well, maybe I need to focus on my consulting business, because that's what I wanted to do before I became a professor. But it just didn't work out. So I was like, well, let me sign up for this business program. I didn't want to go to school because I already had 5 degrees. And I was like, oh my gosh, Jesus, I don't want another degree. So I signed up for a business coaching program, spent a whole bunch of money thinking that this was going to change my life. Got into the program, excellent coach, excellent information. Halfway through, guess what I did again? Quit. And I was like, I spent a lot of money to just sit down on myself. And I've heard the phrase, like, those who pay attention. That's not true, because I paid a lot and I still quit. So how many of you have started programs, started journeys, started courses, and you quit? Like, answer, yeah. I'm looking down so I can see so that I'm not alone. You started something, you were fired up, and then a few weeks in or a few months later, you quit. How many of you did that? Show of hands, put in the chat, say, that's me. I did that too. Thank you, Dashel. I hope I'm saying Dashel. I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you. Yes, I am not alone. A lot of us have a tendency to do that. And it's like, why do we do that? So I had to figure out why, when I got to a level of success, I would quit. I will always get here, but I could never cross that threshold. I could never get over that plateau. So I was like, okay, I had to figure out something. So I went on this week-long retreat. I left the country, y'all. I had to go in somebody's island to get my life. Now, I'm not telling you to go do that, but I had to do something that worked for me. And on this retreat, I learned that I kept searching for external factors to make myself happy. And on that retreat, I learned that everything was in my mind. It was not like mental where I needed therapy, but everything happened because my mindset never really shifted, right? In education, I talk a lot about fixed mindset and growth mindset, but I never transferred that knowledge to my personal life. So although I was like, I want to learn something new, I'm ready to grow, subconsciously, I had a fixed mindset. Subconsciously, I was like, I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to go to the next level. And that's how I was operating. So again, if you don't know about fixed mindset and growth mindset, I really had to be honest with myself. And that was my turning point. Being honest with myself and realize that I couldn't keep seeking external factors. In my case, it was degrees. Education was like my crutch. I was like an information hoarder. I was like, give me, give me, give me. And I would just hold it like it was some kind of, I don't know, golden plate of goodness. So I had to realize, like, no, we need to figure out what's going on in our mind. So the first thing I want you to do, and this is what I had to do, I had to look at my life that was outside of, oh, give me a second because I lost you all. I want to get back to you. Okay, do you all see me? Okay, so the first thing I had to do was stop looking at myself as in two categories. And what I mean by that, it was professional Vernita, and then there was personal Vernita. That was it. My focus was on my professional life. Like, I did everything for academics, going for my career, always been driven, but then my personal life sucked, right? So I had to, on this retreat, open myself up and look at 9 environments. So on your worksheet, thank you, people who were telling me that you were guilty too. So on your worksheet, you'll see something where it says 9 environments of you. Do you see that? Okay, so hopefully you see that. So the first environment, we're not gonna get too deep in this, but I just want you to have a foundation of what does your mindset have to do. Why do you need to look at all of these areas so you can promote growth in your mindset? Thank you, Trisha. So the first environment is Mimi Tech, which is you. All the information that you put inside, all of the information that you read, listen to, watch on TV, everything that goes into your ear gate and eye gate, that's your Mimi Tech environment. The second environment is yourself, which is at your core. Everything in your core values, your belief systems, everything that makes you you. The next environment is spiritual, and that doesn't necessarily mean only religion, but anything that you believe that's you're connected to God, a higher power, or a higher source. Anything like that is spiritual. The next environment is relationships, and that means your friendships, your romantic relationships, your family, your business partner relationships, anything like that. And then the next one is your network. I know you heard of the phrase, your net worth determines your net worth. Look at the people that you are involved with. So that's not just your friends. That means like your professional organizations, associations, fraternities, sororities, anything like that. That's your network. The next area is financial, and that pretty much sums it up, money. And the next one is your physical space, looking around your office, looking around your house, We all may have a junk drawer in the kitchen, looking at your vehicle, looking at your closets, your physical space. What does that say about you? And then nature. How often do you connect with going outside, going to the beach, taking walks, hiking, all of that? And then the last one is your body. How are you taking care of your physical body, your mental health and wellness, and then the nutrition that you have? So think about that, and I want you to rate yourself of where you are now. And then on the worksheet, it says 90 days from now, because that'll be yours. But for the purpose of this workshop, I just want you to think about where do you want to be by the end of December. So rate yourself now, and then just pick 2 or 3 areas, because we have a lot to get through. So pick 2 or 3 areas, rate yourself, and then rate where you want to be by the end of December. So while you're doing that, let me back this up. So as it relates to your mindset, like for me, I couldn't change anything that was going on in my life until I looked at my life. So looking at my life in the 9 environments, I had to get my mind ready to say, all right, Vernita, we're about to do some work, and we can no longer only focus on our career and then dump everything else. We have to lay everything out and see where we are. So that's the first thing you need to do about your mindset. Be honest with yourself where you are, look at every part of your life, because you are a whole person, and then we're going to do something to start priming your mind to go to the next level. Okay, so I see some people have physical space, you and spiritual. All right, great. So you have where you are today, no judgment, you can be at a 0. And remember that decadent cut, if from now to December, you want to go from like a 1 to a 1.5, that's no judgment, because that is still growth, all right? So we've done that. We saw ourselves, we rated ourselves, and I want you to just sit with that for like 30 seconds. Because again, this is all about honesty, because we can't move forward. We can't try to trick our brain, because subconsciously, if you're not honest with yourself, you're going to start showing up as who you are subconsciously. So be honest. If you're at a 0, then you're at a 0. No judgment. All right, the second thing that we're going to do, if you look at your worksheet, so point number 2, after we've looked at ourselves and we're honest and we've rated our whole lives, well, not whole lives, but in the time frame that we have now, we're going to do another activity. And again, the reason why this is like a workshop is because your mind is a muscle, and you have to do some work to get it started, to start growing and activate those, neurons in your mind. I had a professor in my doctoral program, and she would always say, he who does the talking does the learning, right? So even though I'm not asking you to talk, I am asking you to write, because that's the same thing. As you write, you're also learning, and you're training your brain to get into action immediately. So the next part is flex to the next. Do you see that on your worksheet? And I'm only pausing because there's a long delay from the recording to the Facebook group. Okay, so flex to the next. So I'm going to give you an example. Well, I'm going to tell you about it first. So you looked at your 2 or 3 areas where you want to be, right? So then you have to tell your mind, and our first speaker talked about this a little bit. Who do you have to become to get to where you want to be by the end of December, or the 90 days from now? So you know where you are, but now you have to foreshadow and see who do you want to be to get to that level. So I'll give you my personal example, because again, anything that I give to people, I have done the work myself. So I'm not just talking from a place of off the top of my head. So the first thing for me, I want to be a New York Times bestseller. Just putting it out there. Eventually, at some point in my life, I want to be on the New York Times bestselling list as an author. And for my shadow, so So the shadow can be the people you want to help or something in your past. So for me, my shadow would be my first book. So I wrote a book. It was the notes that my mom wrote before she passed. I compiled all of those with some life stories. I published it, but I didn't really make a big deal about it. So my shadow was my first book. Who I am today, I've started a second book and it will be out soon. But now in my mind, I didn't write that book from the place of, oh, I already wrote one. I wrote this book because my foreshadow is someone I admire, and that's Marie Forleo. And I love the way Marie Forleo kind of did her book tour, how she got on the New York Times bestselling list. I watched her whole process. So in my mind, I had to foreshadow, that's where I want to be. And the reason why this is important, because you have to show your mind what's possible. And sometimes we may not get the exact example because our visions are our own visions, but success leaves clues. And there's people out there in the world who've done something similar to what you want to do. So when you do a foreshadowing activity, you're showing your mind what is possible. So back up, you've looked at your 9 environments, you picked 2 or 3 categories, you've rated yourself from where you are to where you want to be. Now in step 2, you have to say, who is the person that I need to become? I've already been this person in the shadows. This is where I am now. What characteristics, or is there a person that I can aspire to, not be like them, but they have some of the traits and qualities that you need to be to reach your next level? You put them there. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm not going too fast. Oh, people are putting their ratings. Thank you so much. So that was part number 2. And the reason why I have you do that, again, you have to help your brain take you to the next level. You have to get your mind primed and ready to promote growth. So as you're doing the shadow and foreshadowing activity, there are 3 things I want you to keep in mind. And again, they're on your worksheet. The first thing is be intentional and clear about who you are becoming. The more characteristics you can write down about who you need to be to reach that next goal, whether it's by the end of December or the next 90 days, the more, the better the framework you have to follow, okay? The next one is shedding off who I used to be and becoming comfortable in my new skin as a gradual process. For me, I am still like in the work of this in certain areas. So in using the example of author, I have to realize that if I want to be a New York Times bestselling author, I can't just write a book and put it on the shelf, right? I can't just tell someone that I wrote a book for one day and expect that I'm going to be on the list. There are some things that I have to do on a daily basis, want to get comfortable saying that I'm an author, and then build up those habits and those things in my business for me to do what I need to do to be on that list. And again, I look at Marie Forleo and her example, and she put in a lot of work to make that list. So every day I have to tell myself, you need to take these steps if you want to reach this goal. You need to be a person that consistently writes. You need to be a person that consistently promotes yourself. You need to be a person that always gives value to people, no matter what. You don't want the first time they hear from you is to say, hey, did you go get my book? So every day we're doing something, shedding off our old self, shedding off the shadows, and then walking to become what we said in the foreshadow. And the third thing you have to realize in your mind is that your body will catch up with your brain. Your brain is supposed to operate in the future. So our first speaker said that our brains are designed to keep us safe. That is true. But you can also tell your brain to think in terms of the future. And when you do that, you're letting your brain know that you can let go of the past because the future is safe for you. Okay, so I hope that made sense. Oh, that's awesome, Patricia. All right, so then these are some questions that I want you to ask yourself. So again, on the worksheet, I want you to ask yourself these questions. What is one characteristic that you want your future self to consistently possess? So you can write that in the chat or you can write that in your notes. So you've looked at your 9 environments. You picked 2 or 3 areas where you want to start focusing on, where you want to be by the end of December or in the next 90 days, it's up to you. Then you took the next step to flex to the next. You know where your shadow has been. You know where you are. Where are you forecasting? What person have you identified? Say, you know what? I want to be at that level. And then you're asking yourself specifically, what characteristics do I need to embody today to make sure I get to that foreshadow? All right. The next question, how can you begin expressing that characteristic daily? So again, in your mind, it's like your mind is a muscle. You don't just go to the gym and do like one set of curls and expect to get Michelle Obama arms. Nope, you can't do that. You have to consistently go. So the same thing with your mind. You can't just say, I'm gonna work on my mindset today and I should see these results next month. No, you have to do this every single day. It is a muscle, okay? And then this is what I want you to do. You can do this now, or you can do this at the end of the conference. Find an image of that characteristic and post it up. Thank you. And post it up to where you want to go. Like post up the image or the characteristic. So for me, I have an image of a lady in high heels in a business suit, and she's tight roping on a rope in a sea of sharks. Why? Because I need to be a risk taker if I want my business to go to the next level. So every day I have to look at that. And then every day I have to do something that embodies being a risk taker for my business. All right, so we've done that activity. We talked about your mindset, and I've given you some actual tools to do that. And the reason why this is so important to me, the reason why mindset is so important to me is because I don't want another high achieving person. And if you're here on a Saturday, you are a high achieving person. I don't want another high achieving person to get stuck and think that they have to buy all of these programs and then they think the programs don't work. I am all for coaching programs. I am all for coaching. I have 2 coaches on my own right now. No, I have 3 coaches that's on rotation, but you don't have to go to them to fix you. Everything you need to know is already inside of you. You have to fix your mindset first. So the first thing you should do before you do anything else is fix your mindset. And I'm going to wrap this up because I've helped several people with their mindset and everything like that. And I'm not the mindset coach. However, I know mindset is the foundation of achieving whatever goals you want in life. So at the bottom of the worksheet, you see several next steps. You can take whatever path you want to take. You can take what I have offered you today. You can put those things in action and be on your way. And then everything from this conference, and you'll be good to go. The second thing you can do is look at the link that I have. Now, there are 2 links on that worksheet. One, go look at the program itself. It's a course, Vibe 101, because mindset is a vibe. And it's 6 weeks to shift your self-awareness. Don't use that link to pay because you showed up here. The special link is where it says enroll for the special price. And if you are still confused, you can contact me. You can click the link. It's on the worksheet between now and Monday, and I will be happy to talk with you. So I hope today that you've realized some actual steps that you need to take to mind your mindset and to see how mindset promotes growth. All right. So I'm still looking at the chats. Thank you all so much. I am Dr. V, and thank you so much for listening and learning with me. And I will see you all in the chat, in Facebook, and use those links to stay connected. All right. So enjoy the conference and have an awesome day.